Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Reid. I'm Egberto, Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. How are my peeps doing? I'm looking at my feed here and I don't see it on the internet. Let's see if there is something happening out here. I don't see that it is going to the internet. Let me go ahead and check our setup here to make sure all is working fine, because for some reason we don't have it on the Facebook. So let me go check the restream and see if there's an issue. I've been running late, had a whole lot of other things that I had to do. So let me go ahead and make sure that that got queued correctly. You know how that goes sometimes. Let's make sure that all the queuing took place, or whether there was an issue with queuing our programs. Let's see. I'm checking. Bear with me, guys, as I check the streams, because the streams look like it should be running. All right, let's see. They're all running. Facebook streams seem to be up, but it's not showing. Let me go ahead and have it show me the stream. Yeah, I see the stream. I don't see that. Okay, bear with me, folks, as I try to figure out what's going on here, because there seemed to be an issue with streaming to Facebook, and I don't understand what's going on at this point, because for some reason Facebook is not streaming. So what I may have to do is, I give me another minute, Michael Rudnan. I need about another minute, because there are a whole lot of stuff that queues off of the Facebook stream. So what I'm going to do, though, is I'll get it working in an interesting fashion. Anyway, folks, we're going to have a great show for you today. And what are we going to talk about today? Well, today we're going to talk about the first issue is going to be how somebody responded to. I tell you what, better than that, why don't I just play this piece for you, and then we'll continue with the show. While this piece plays, I'll work on that. So let's check it out now, and then we'll take it on the other side. You know, I think it was right before Thanksgiving or right after Thanksgiving. I don't remember. Joy and Reid did a piece on Thanksgiving, and it was kind of funny but real, because, I mean, there's much that when we celebrate holidays like Thanksgiving or Columbus Day, etc., where one is expected that all of us sit down and clasp our hands and celebrate it, because these were great things that occurred. Really is a bit, or it's asking for too much. Many a times it is asking that one forget real history. It is asking that one forget who they are, or how they got where they were, or what was done to them in the name of the holiday, in the name of the celebration. And unless we're all educated, unless we're all made to learn the same factual things, many times it's hard to comprehend. You know, today I had somebody call in and say that Kwanzaa was a false celebration. It's a false holiday. To which I said, well, then aren't all holidays false, because they're based on something? They had a genesis sometime. And then the other caller, which is the one that I'm going to play, called to say, well, the same way you scolded him, should we scold? I'm paraphrasing. Should we scold you for simply referring to Thanksgiving as Turkey Day and not taking our feelings into consideration about that particular holiday? And in effect, I said, you know, there's something right about that. I should respect everybody's holiday. I don't have to celebrate everybody's holiday, but I should, you know, acknowledge it. But remember, I won't be acknowledging a Thanksgiving next to my Native American friends. I won't be celebrating a Columbus Day next to anybody here in America that isn't non-European. And the reason is simple. Again, these things weren't established benevolently. And, you know, I think a lot of people need to read Howard Zinn's book, The Real History of the United States of America, I think is what it's called. But anyhow, I want you to listen to some of these outtakes from what I did this morning and tie it into what Joy and Reid had to say, and then we'll take it on the other side. Come on in, Bart. How you doing this morning, my brother? Yes, go ahead.
I wanted to thank some of the callers for wishing me a Merry Kwanzaa. That's one of my favorite holidays. I love to turn on the television on the day of Kwanzaa and watch the TV anchors squirm when they have to mention Kwanzaa and wish everybody a Merry Kwanzaa because they know it's a fake holiday.
Why would you call any holiday, whether it's be Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas, or whatever, a fake holiday? Why would you call it a fake holiday?
Just because it's made up and there's no way.
Wait a minute, hold on. All holidays are made up. What makes one better than the other?
That's the thing. The only reason they made it up was in response to Christmas.
Oh, no. No. Kwanzaa has its value, and it has its value in Black pride. Eddie, I'm going to have to make the call short now. Give me a quick one, brother Eddie.
I had two things to talk about, but real quick, the Kwanzaa thing, you make a really interesting point. I don't celebrate it. I don't know much about it, but giving respect to it because somebody does it and somebody puts value on it, I understand that. I think that's a very good point. However, my issue, though, is when you say, okay, Thanksgiving, and you call it Turkey Day, I think that's sort of disrespectful to what I celebrate and what I believe in. I think you can't have one without the other. I
agree. By the way, sir, that's a good call out. Let me just tell you straight up. That's a good call out. Okay, so when I'm around my indigenous friends or people of I will refrain from using Thanksgiving, but I think you're giving me a good call out on the radio. Use them equitably. In other words, be able to say Thanksgiving without having a second thought. Good call out.
So apparently, the people who voted for the I will protect women whether they like it or not, childless women should have no rights, Puerto Rico is trash island, and Haitians will eat your pets gang are the real victims, despite their guy winning the election. In fact, they are now the modern day equivalent of Rosa Parks, we're told by a white comedian. Civil rights heroes, the lot of them. And the rest of us, among the 73 million Americans who voted not to have fascism, autocracy, mass deportation, internment camps, and economy-crushing tariffs, are the bad guys, the segregationists of our time. If we, hold on, let me check my notes. Yes, don't want to have turkey dinner with the people screaming, your body, my choice. Okay, so there is this strong dual energy among MAGA people and their apologists, and it actually fits quite neatly with the history of America. It's equal parts bully energy, where they want to relentlessly troll liberals and lash out at minorities, and victim energy, where those same liberals are supposed to take the trolling quietly and also pity the trolls. It's the eternal victimhood of the conservative. We need to constantly coddle, study, and understand them. No one, not the media, the big thinkers, definitely not the comedians, are required to try to understand liberals and progressives. No. We must seek to understand those on the right, what they really meant by their votes, what they want, what they need. We are the constant handmaidens and wet nurses who are required to baby them, understand them, and serve them dinner. And if we want just a mental health break from their conspiracy theories and complaints about trans people in the bathroom and on the soccer field and in the schools reading to kids at the library and apparently hiding under their beds, we are the ones in the wrong. In short, our dinner, their choice. It's the same energy their forefathers had toward the indigenous tribes. Hey, let's have Thanksgiving dinner on the land we stole from you. But before we pack you off to the reservation and snuff out your culture, could you please pass the corn on the cob? There's the dozens of post-Civil War massacres wiping out Black communities from Louisiana to North Carolina to Rosewood, Florida, and Tulsa, Oklahoma, where Black communities got burned to the ground by racist white mobs, a century later gentrified when rich folks want to live downtown because it's closer to work. But let's just call it even, because y'all got King Day, a Black president, and Juneteenth. Geez, what more do you want? Accurate history? What, are you trying to hurt our feelings? These are the people who say the undocumented, who they get to call illegal immigrants, like the Pilgrims had permission to come here, have to suffer the consequences of their actions, right? They made the choice to overstay their visas or come into our country illegally. So if they get deported, consequences. But you right-wingers shouldn't have to suffer the consequences of your votes. You don't want to be around me because I voted for fascism. No fair. I'm coughing on you with COVID, but you want me to wear a mask for your safety? No fair. My body, my choice. Well, here's an alternative thought. Make your own dinner, MAGA. Make your own sandwiches. Wipe your own tears. Troll amongst yourselves with Elon and leave us alone. You got your heart's desire, the president you dreamed of, and worship instead of Jesus. And this time, you didn't even have to storm the Capitol, smash the windows, or try to kill police officers or issue death threats to poll workers. See? You did it just by voting this time. Congrats. You got your way. And he even got away with breaking the law. Yay. But if you expect the 73 million who voted for the prosecutor, not the felon, and particularly the 92% of black women who voted for Kamala to give you a cookie for your vote, a trophy, a hug, a high five, you might be asking too much. If we want to eat with you, we will. But if we just want some peace over the holidays and we don't want to put up with your trolling while we eat our tofurkey, get over it. Stop acting like we owe you. And for God's sakes, stop whining. It's embarrassing. Our Thanksgiving, our choice.
So absolutely. So now I think Brother Cisak is about to go into convulsion for hearing real history for a change. Lee Grant says she's very annoyed. I can see why her viewership is slipped down. Actually, her viewership has not slipped like the other commentators. She has a very solid base. And by the way, hers is integrated very well with multimedia. So while you may say, oh, her online is down, multimedia and all of that, she is killing it. So she's talking about, she's a good person to learn from in how you do multimedia in this. And I hear you, my brother Rudden. Don't talk about politics on Thanksgiving Day. I hear you, brother. Jay, yes, woman, thank you. Yeah, she nailed it. And perfectly so. Lee Burkett says, this guy has a way with words. Yeah, the guy that spoke about, which guy? I don't know which guy you're talking about, Lee the Beer Cat. Okay, I hope it works, Magner. I hope it works. Let's try. All right, are you there, Mr. Magner?
Yes, sir. How are you?
All right, so we're working today. Talk to me, sir. Actually, I didn't side with him. Let me tell you. Let me correct that real quick, brother Patrick. I didn't side with him. What I said that he did correctly was, or where he called me out, is that he said, oh, wow, they said they're not hearing the caller. Okay, well, I'll keep this mic up and see if I can somehow, I don't know what has happened over the last few days. Okay, let me just tell you what has happened. And bear with me one quick second before I answer that question. What I wanted to tell him, right, is I am telling other people they have to look at other people's view. Not everybody celebrate Thanksgiving because of the pilgrims and that sort of a stuff, right? So that is the reason that I said, okay, you got me on that one. And that's why I said, you won't hear me talking about Thanksgiving around my indigenous friends or anything like that. But when I'm talking to others, okay, if Thanksgiving floats your boat, Thanksgiving. Go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, as a listener, it sounded more like you're apologizing to him, like you acknowledged that you were saying something offensive to him.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say nothing about calling Thanksgiving Turkey Day is offensive. At least it shouldn't be. I don't think so. We aren't to say that it isn't to put down his celebration or to demean it. You're just you're trying to include more people.
No, I agree with you. I think what he's talking about is just like I told the guy who doesn't acknowledge Kwanzaa, the first caller. I'm saying, like, have some respect for it. And, you don't have to be scared of saying Kwanzaa or anything like that. I just want to say, like, if I in other words, I'm not scared of the word Thanksgiving, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But if it came across like an apology, it wasn't supposed to be an apology. I'm only human. I can come across, that way.
Yeah, no, it did sound like an apology. What I would have made a point to him was that you weren't saying anything to tip away from what he is doing, what he is celebrating. In fact, you're celebrating the same way he was. That you felt like you're trying to be as sensitive to as many people as possible. And there's nothing condescending about calling Thanksgiving Turkey Day.
Well, that's true. That's true. By the way, callers, can you hear Patrick well now? Because I I think I just changed another signal to see if that'll solve the problem. I have to do some work. Somebody changed, well, not somebody, it has to be me, of course, change some signal that I wasn't sure. But anyway, anything else, Patrick, before we go to the other thing?
Yeah, making it as short as possible. Like if I say happy holidays and somebody gets hurt with me and says Thanksgiving or says Christmas, I feel like they're telling me what I need to be telling them. And that's much different than calling something Turkey Day or Thanksgiving. Right.
Well, I think saying happy holiday is actually respectful, right? Because you're encompassing everybody.
And everybody'd like to have a nice New Year.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Exactly.
That's all I want to say. We can be sensitive to people without calling them and without changing our what we consider is right.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, my brother.
We're not trying to hurt anybody.
I agree with you.
I want you to have Merry Christmas. I want you to have happy everything. But that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, brother. Have a good one.
Thank you.
All right.
You too.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. I'm going to have to figure out what happened, what exactly is happening with our callers right now. Patrick is on speaker, sounds like, no, actually, I think that's my fault. I got to spend some time to go through this one piece at a time. We need to be respectful of everybody's feelings. I agree with that. And I try to do that. And where I'm called out, I try to acknowledge it. Sometimes I do it in real time. Sometimes it doesn't go across as it should, as Patrick just pointed out as well. Anyhow, folks, let me tell you, the FBI director resigned. And I am very interested to see the kind of Comedy Central we're going to have with the cast of characters that President Trump is putting into office. We think about Gabbard. Oh my God! You think about Hegseth. Oh my God! You think about Patel. I mean, it's going to be Comedy Central in all these positions, and the rest of the world is cracking to hell up. I'm telling you from other papers, okay? A lot of us don't read international papers. The rest of the world think we have gone badass crazy, and they can't believe this has happened to a superpower. It is tantamount to how many felt when Russia was fallen. It's amazing. It's amazing. Anyhow, folks, before I go, let me read some of what you're writing here. We have Skiffy the brat, okay, says, I don't really care for any Joyanne Reid. It's an artifact of her attacks on Bernie in 2016. She pushed that Bernie bro narrative in a big way then. That and Obama boys thing in 2008. Let me just say one thing, right? There are a lot of these activist journalists, sometimes that'll happen. Some people hold it against me that I was very pro Bernie and claim I was anti-Hillary. And I still pay the price for that at Daily Kos, because when Daily Kos had two factions, and because I was there promoting the message by Bernie, because in my opinion, it was a correct message and we could prove it numerically, I am still feeling the pain from people who are, I mean, they like what I write, but they just can't forget that I supported Bernie 100% and was a Bernie delegate. Lee Grant says the readout has shed 47% of its total audience, averaging just 759,000 viewers after averaging 1.4 million viewers through 2024, leading up to the election. Well, it actually zoomed up a lot during the election. That she backtracked to 759 it's not a good thing. But let me just tell you, most of her growth is not going to occur on cable TV. Progressives have dropped cable TV for the time being. Right now, progressives are going through mourning. Okay, they're mourning, and their way of mourning is staying away from politics altogether, which, to put it bluntly, concerns me. It's something that we are trying to mitigate, because you can't drop out, and a lot of progressives have just dropped out. And that 47% that you're seeing there, that is what it is. But rest assured, They are, in fact, on social media, and they're doing a hell of a lot of stuff on social media right now. AVQ says, I am all sort of tired today, back to bed. AVQ, please drink a lot of fluids, vitamin C, and rest yourself. I wish I could tell you better, but you know how the flu is. You just have to get over it in the next few days. The body's going to take its course. I hope you had a flu. Did you have a flu vaccine? I took the flu vaccine. The just about every vaccine that I could take, I took just in case, right? All right. Lee the Bearcat says, will new president reduce or eliminate money going to Ukraine or Israel? I think he'll eliminate the money going to Ukraine. I don't know about Israel. Paul Fleming says, how a decade-old loophole lets billionaires avoid Medicare tax. Some of Wall Street's richest and most powerful figures are using a legal loophole to avoid paying millions of dollars in earmarked for health. Let me tell you what they did, okay? Because several years ago, many years ago, when I used to make real money, before I decided to become a full-time activist and make very little money, the accountant was trying to tell me that if I collected my money as dividends and capital gains, I could actually, I think it's dividends that actually forwent any charges for Medicare. Okay? The Medicare tax. It is shameful. Like I said, all income should be treated the same. They treat all income that the average person makes, whether realized or unrealized, the same. Let me give an example. If you are in a state that collects property taxes and the price of your home rises, you're going to pay property taxes based on the new higher price of your home. Just like stock is a financial instrument, your home is also a financial instrument. So while all the people who own homes, they sock it to them with places that have taxes on real estate. But if you own a stock, nope, capital gains get a preferred tax rate. It's a scam. You're absolutely right, Paul. I didn't read the article, but I'm going to go ahead and index it because I'd like to add something else to my repertoire. Maybe I'll cover that on KPFT tomorrow morning. Thank you for that, Paul. Very important article. All right, let's see what else we got here. Nothing wrong with holidays. We all need some rest. Yep, we do. All right, let's see. Tiny bit at the end of a long tunnel. I hear you. Sorry, I will try to get that fixed after the show. I have to remember to do it. Thank you, guys. Jay says, maybe I don't live here because I can't believe it either. Lee Grant says we could celebrate Thanksgiving for its aspiration of people from very different cultures finding common grounds, sharing a meal, and forming a mutual respect. I don't have any problem with the way you just said it, right, Lee Grant? It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing what you just said there. Okay? All right. AVQ says, Egberto, Bernie would have destroyed Trump. I agree now that Bernie versus Trump as opposed to Hillary versus Trump, Bernie would have taken it to the cleaners. All right. Bree says, Biden says he'll veto bill that would let Trump nominate more judges. President Biden drops a bomb on MAGA world by announcing that he will veto formally bipartisan bill that would add 63 permanent judgeships because Donald Trump would now be the one to fill 22 of the seats. You have to fight fire with fire. I agree. Biden promised to veto the bill, which has already passed in the Senate and is set to be voted on by Republican-controlled House this week. And you know what? It's going to be hard as hell getting it through the next Congress with a one-vote majority, right? I know they think they're going to get all the Republicans to do it, but at that point, they'll have some problems. Lee Grant says, good morning to my progressive friends, but he didn't mean morning. He meant morning. Breed says, in addition to Trump's victory, has some liberal judges reversing their retirement plans. Yep. And we have to commend them because they've added 4 years to their service. 4 years. A lot of people, you're 68 and you're thinking, all right, I'm going to enjoy those 68 year, my 68 year not. I am going to go off But no, they said to save this country, they won't do it. Thank you for that, Breach. All right. By the way, I wrote an article on my Substack that I want everybody to read. The article is titled, let me back up a second here. I want to put it on the screen. I'd love for you guys to all read it. And if you can, there's a video that goes along with it for those who decide that they are going to support us via becoming subscribers of our channel, paid subscribers. But whatever the case may be, please read this article that I'm going to put in there when you get a chance. It is, I titled it, Why Solving America's Problems Requires a Willingness to Look in the Mirror with Clear Lens. Check out that article when you get a chance, guys. All right, what else have I got here? Let's see what we got here. AVQ says flu shot, yes. Don't know if it helped. Feels like I got a bad case. 38.5 degrees. And 37 C to get. So it's cold in New York as well. Well, look, take care of yourself, brother. Drink some orange juice for the vitamin C. Take some additional vitamin C. That's what I do. And just curl up in the bed while listening to Politics Done Right. All right, brother. Paul Fleming says Amazon adding the tip your driver feature so the middle class can help Bezos pay his employee is peak consumerism. I agree with you, Paul Fleming. I agree with you. BHMC said AVQ, rest up and feel better. By the way, FB and all Meta was down for a few hours today worldwide. That's why we had problems connecting. Thank you for letting me know that. I didn't know that at all. Paul Fleming says, remember the free tax filing service that Democrats established last year? Republicans are trying to take it away. They're working for their rich buddies who charge an arm and a leg to do taxes. But you know what? Democrats need to make big issues out of these types of stories, and we don't. But they need to make big issues out of it. All right, let's see. The best gift of a friend is one who is a clear and courageous mirror. You got that right. I found you, I think. Did the show start late? No, what happened is Reid says Facebook was kind of down for a while, and we had problems actually connecting to Facebook. But that's okay. That's okay. I have one more video I want to show. Well, two more videos. The first one is, let me lay it up here. As you know, they're trying to make it that anybody who talks about the reasons that Mr. Luigi went ahead and killed and unalived the CEO, that if you somehow try to get something out of it, you're being so bad. And, too many Democrats as well are calling out people who are using that as a catalyst to talk about the failed healthcare system. Well, I think it's a TikToker or Instagrammer, had quite a bit to say. And it was picked up by MSNBC. I want you guys to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Within minutes of the shooting, people began to rage at a system that isn't working and a healthcare industry that puts profits ahead of patients. But instead of feeling heard by American leaders, many felt their anger was being willfully misconstrued.
I am still watching the reactions of establishment Democratic politicians to this United Healthcare assassination and increasingly realize why we lost the election. I mean, just the totally missing the moment, missing the point, repeating all these empty platitudes like violence is never the answer. And instead of responding to all of the outpouring of sympathy and cynicism and outrage, not towards the shooter, but to our healthcare system, Democrats spend no time speaking or even trying to understand what is the rage and dissatisfaction that drives ordinary people to support a cold-blooded murderer. Well, not only none of the problems get solved, but all of them get actively worse. And that the only place to channel the rage is through the right's alternative, the right's presentation of an anti-establishment candidate in Donald Trump, who will not solve any of the problems that people care about about, but is the last protest vote that people have to register their disdain and contempt for a broken system. As long as Democrats are seen widely to be the party that is the spokesperson for the system most Americans despise, and that events like this just allow that reality to burst forth to the surface in a dramatic way, we will never recapture the political discourse from the right.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to...
Okay, so you get what he said. Now, I don't agree with him completely, right? Because here's the thing, and this is where I talk about being mature and thinking things through. First of all, like I stated, the reason the president of the United States is Donald Trump, all those little things mattered. But the ultimate reason that Donald Trump is president is because of sexism and racism. With all those issues, healthcare, Iraq, healthcare, Gaza, all of those reduced what Kamala's percentage, definitely so. It probably also kept people at home. But the reality that she lost is sexism and racism. That the majority of white women voted for Donald Trump. Somebody they knew would hurt their mother, their daughters, or some one of those. There can only be one answer. That so many male Latinos decided to vote by majority for Donald Trump. Again, strong sexism with a degree of racism. It's hard until and that's why I want folks to read the article that I put in there, because it's important. She lost votes because of Gaza. She lost votes because of different different issues. But those weren't the mass exodus that caused the loss. You can look at the numbers. North Carolina is probative. The senators that won in Wisconsin is probative. The senator that won in Michigan is probative. So let's be clear here. America has to acknowledge deep within that it has a racial and gender problem, a sexism problem. And when we solve that problem, we can stop otherizing others and be able to really elect the best person for the job. Donald Trump had already proven to us that he was a lousy president. He allowed a pandemic to get out of hand. He allowed, he misrepresented people. He took us out of the Paris Accords. We can talk about how this guy was a clear and present danger, not only to the United States, but to the world. And as opposed to the American people saving the world, the American people put the entire world again in jeopardy. They put the Defense Department in the hands of Hegseth, a man who hates women. They put our DNI in the hands of a woman who we know is incompetent for that particular job. We know he attempted as Attorney General to put a sick rapist as Attorney General. That is who we elected. Well, not we. That's who right-wingers elected. And those of us that didn't vote, you did that election as well. But again, he didn't win because of what the brother just spoke. But what the brother just said is just as important. And that is, Democrats got to get with the program that actually says we understand that killing is wrong, but we also understand that we need a new healthcare system altogether. Punto y final. A new healthcare system. Anyway, I got another video that I want you to listen to, and this one has to do with the deep state. Who really is the deep state? And it's always a person pointing the finger that you got to look at. Donald Trump and his sycophants, Donald Trump and the Steve Bannons and all these other guys that are the Patel, etc., always like to talk about deep state, as if the dedicated people in the government, somehow they want to constantly give trouble to Donald Trump or somehow always put him under investigation or somehow spy on him. But you know what we talk about a lot here? Whenever you're pointing that finger, there's several more pointing back. And it turns out that a report just came out that pointed out that the Trump DOJ pulled phone records and texts that were secretly gathered of congressmen, staffs, and journalists during his first administration. I want you to see how this journalist addressed it. Because Andrea Mitchell did a great job in sort of parodying what Donald Trump likes to say. And I think in the process, she made a fool out of him. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
In a new report just out today, the Department of Justice's Inspector General is criticizing the DOJ under Donald Trump. This new report lays out how in 2017 and 2018, the Trump Justice Department secretly and improperly obtained phone and text message logs of 2 members of Congress, dozens of congressional staffers, and then in 2020 got similar records from members of the news media. Among the staffers whose records were seized, get this, Kash Patel, President-elect's choice to take over the FBI. He was working various national security roles then. The IG report finds the DOJ failed to take account of separation of powers by seizing those communication records, using subpoenas and gag orders, third-party providers, including Apple, to get the records and to keep those companies from telling their customers. Ken, this is, the secrecy involved here, and the fact that they were doing it on some of their own people and members of Congress.
Yes, Andrea, I think the most important thing about this report is that it serves as a warning as a second Trump administration is about to take office with a new Trump-appointed attorney general about just how powerful the Justice Department can be, what kind of records it can get, and the secrecy it can deploy in going about getting them. Now, in this case, there were some leaks of classified information into news stories in 2017 and 2018 about the Russia investigation. And line attorneys, line prosecutors sort of went off in bull in a china shop fashion and grabbed up the phone records and text message logs of 43 congressional staffers and 2 members of Congress. They happen to be California Democrats, Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell, who were on the Intelligence Committee at the time. Now, the Inspector General did not find that that was improper. That was in accordance with the rules at the time. There are now rules that say that top officials at the Justice Department would have to be notified if something like that happened. But the IG did find that later, under Bill Barr, the Justice Department violated its own policies when it secretly grabbed up the same kind of records from reporters at the New York Times and the Washington Post without telling the journalists. There is now a policy in place that says that can't happen anymore, that the DOJ will not subpoena records except in emergency circumstances from reporters doing their jobs. But that's just a policy, Andrea. That can be rolled back by the Trump Attorney General. And that's the real warning shot here that this Inspector General report is firing, that there's a lot to be concerned about. A lot can happen behind the scenes, Andrea.
And who was the Attorney General when this first started?
It was Jeff Sessions, but he was recused. So he was not found to have been involved. That's the bizarre thing about this, is that the subpoenas to the members of Congress and the staffers were done by line prosecutors, sort of the workaday mechanisms of the Justice Department, without real consideration for the fact that this is a separate branch of government. They could have whistleblowers calling them about the Department of Justice, and maybe the DOJ shouldn't have access to those records without any warning.
I think we found the deep state. It was the Trump first administration, DOJ.
So there you go. She didn't mince her words, did she? She said, I think we found the deep state. It's the Trump first administration. It's the Trump's first administration's DOJ. Think about that. Here he is, always complaining, and it turns out that his administration is really the culprit that spied on others, that went into others' business, and so forth. We have a long 4 years ahead of us. And it's going to be the 4 years that we have to remain vigilant. It's the 4 years that independent media is going to have to do the work, because as you see right now, the mainstream media is trying to appease Trump. They're normalizing Trump. They are actually making the things that Trump do that are so bad, so wrong. They're actually making those vogue. I think what we call it is the sanitization of Trump. And while the mainstream media, in some fashion, probably believes they have to do that to maintain that connectivity with administrations, those of us in the independent media, those of us in the activist independent media, the activist progressive independent media, we don't have to worry about doing that. We just have to tell the truth. So again, as Andrea Mitchell said, we found the deep state, and it's the Trump first administration's DOJ, and likely the DOJ that he puts into action once he's inaugurated. It's a long 4 years ahead of us. Oh, yes. Anyway, hey, Bruce Pollard is in the house. How you doing, Bruce? Great to see you here. Doom Chaser is in here as well. We've got Eric Hayes that showed up. I don't see Yvette today. Is Yvette in here today? I never like to miss calling out my regulars. Let's see if Yvette is here. You know, I got to call out my regulars, guys. I guess Yvette didn't show today. That's okay. Anyway, folks, continuing with the program, let me scroll down. Bruce says it's going to be a bumpy tide. I think you mean a bumpy ride, brother, and I think I agree with you 100%. But we got work to do. Egberto, I told you it's a bunch of those in the administration estimates from Obama. Oh, Lord, there we go again. Doomchart says it is accepted as fact our own CIA are drug dealers to fund a war. Fact. Weapons of mass destruction was fabricated. Fact. So many facts out there. You're absolutely right about that. What else have we got here? Okay, damn. Okay, thanks, Egberto. Oh, no, that's okay, Bridge. I saw that and I wanted to verify that elsewhere. So I went ahead and checked it out because, we try to be, we try to be here. All right. What else have we got here? I don't have any more videos, so let me continue with what you guys have. Patrick Wagner says, if SpaceX is a federal contractor, why was Musk able to contribute to the election? Thank you. Again, fraud, just outright fraud, right? But they don't mind. You don't hear the right complaining about Musk putting $250 million directly into Trump's campaign, right? Through several side groups, PACs, etc. But if you ever hear them talk about what's the name of the Greek guy that they always say supports liberals? Soros. Soros is giving all this money. Man, I wish somebody would give me money to do what I do to support progressives. But the only thing I get for supporting progressive is whenever people sign up for my newsletter as paid newsletter. Wish I got more than that. Anyhow, Eric says SpaceX is so important to NASA. Well, yeah, because they made it so. If NASA sells its soul to Elon Musk, we can't help it, right? I mean, it's one of the dumbest moves they've ever made. Again, I work for NASA, and if NASA would just go ahead and become work the contractors and don't make the contractors dominate them, that would make a lot of sense. You can donate $3,300 to a candidate. Musk can donate millions. Can you believe that? That's what I always talk about, the corporation having more speech than the average person. So even if they want to say money is speech, they have to allow the maximum speech be equal. They can't say we're going to cut personal speech, but not cut corporate speech. It's amazing, isn't it? It's also very sad. I am glad that you actually saw that. I'm glad you saw that. Let's see. better than Bowen. Well, Bowen got fat and lazy. And we all know now that all the things that Bowen is flying, we have to be careful with the flights that they take these days. We don't know if they try to hammer those screws in and put undue stress in different areas of the plane. We don't know that. And you know what I'm talking about, Bruce. If you fatigue out of spec, you can actually cause crashes, and you know how that happens. Let's see what else we got here. Eric says, well, how did Biden get so much from the billionaires in 2020? Really? No, I think now you could have said that about Kamala Harris, about all her misspent money, but I don't think you can say that about Biden at all. All right, let's see what else we got here. Patriarchal system and racist, according to British MCP, which I agree with wholeheartedly. Skippy, the Ubrat, says the Democratic response to the HCH shooting is easily explained. I think more than likely it is biting your tongue with timidity. That is always a response from Democrats. Rarely do you see a Democrat other than the progressives like Bernie Sanders or Pramila Jayapal actually go out there and full-throatedly protect the interests of the progressive values. And like I mentioned, most Americans are in fact progressives. I repeat, most Americans are in fact progressives. They just don't like to use the word because they associate progressive with other things, and those other things create a problem. Patrick Magnus says, actually, governments working together has a long history of helping relations. I found it ironic that those who believe in government are pretty much allowed the right to turn government into something bad. Because in effect, it is saying, if you're saying government is bad, like I say all the time, you're actually saying we are bad. And that is something we got to get away from. I believe in myself. Well, it seems to me like brother Tom Zarnick has a new limerick that I must be prepared to read. So to my brother Zarnick, let's get with the program. And it goes like this. All right. Easy. Help wanted for Donald Trump's new cabinet. Must lie like Pinocchio as a MAGA marionette. To Trump, the completely loyal, bathe yourself in gas and oil. On the Capitol dome, be a gargoyle. Against Dems and rhinos rage and boil. Being compliant is more important than being experienced and competent. Cut taxes for the obscenely wealthy, though it raises the national debt. Make most Americans poorer and unhealthy. Ignore a foreign or domestic threat. Be willing to play Russian roulette. With Putin, Xi, and Orban, Jung, MBS, and Erdogan. Don't fret that your voters made a bad bet. GOP policies may be chaotic and makeshift. But when you join the Donald's new cabinet, you can aid and abet his government grift. Buy a yacht or a private jet. And from sunrise to sunset, grab all the money and power you can get. Oh, I tell you, you just have a way with words, Brother Zarnick. Thank you so kindly for that. And I hope you continue to post them. This is wonderful. Anyway, AVQ says, conservatives, we believe government is bad because we're going to do everything in our power to make government bad. You nailed it. All right, Mike C6 says only 8% of the U.S. population is progressive. Conservatives are 33%. Dream on. Dream on and dream on. Cut their Social Security. Cut their Medicaid. Cut their Medicare. See how many really are progressive versus conservative. It's that simple. Okay, what else have we got here? Para ver. 10 biggest donors, not interested in the billionaires. But anyway, folks, we are coming near the end of the program. I have to drop. Enjoyed the show. Y'all have a great evening. Thank you so kindly for having been here. Skippy the two Brett. Thank you so kindly for having been here. But anyhow, folks, remember, please support the program by one, you can go to politicsdoneright.com/support and provide support in whatever form you so choose. But there are other options. We would love for you to consider becoming paid subscribers of our newsletter. And how do you do that? You go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. You you get our newsletter. You also get a chance to read all our books, all the special little gifts we have in the paid section of every newsletter that goes out. But again, the most important thing that you're doing is ensuring that we can go out there and tell the truth. Go out there and do what we're doing here. This is 100%, and I mean that from the depths of my heart. All of this is 100% supported by you. You're the one that completely pays for this. You're the one that allows us to enlighten others. You are the ones that continue to make this a possibility. So please continue your support. And for those who aren't supporting, we need to look, we are only at 10% of the amount of people subscribing, paid subscription to our newsletter to be able to continue this indefinitely. So I ask kindly again, please consider supporting our newsletter at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Anyway, folks, I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.